Gran Turismo 3 is an incredibly fun game with just gorgeous graphics, great sound effects, great soundtrack. It offers replay value for weeks and weeks and months at a time. And I think anyone who's even wondering whether or not they should buy this game should definitely buy it, because they will thoroughly enjoy it, whether or not they like racing in real life or not. Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, or GT3 for short, is the third in the Gran Turismo series, which is considered by many to be the best racing game series on any platform, console or PC. And this third one certainly lives up to the year-and-a-half hype that it's been getting, and delivers on every single aspect: graphics, control, AI a little bit, sound, and it's through and through, it's an amazing game. Obviously, the first thing you look at Gran Turismo 3 that you're going to notice are the graphics. And the graphics are simply beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen car models look as detailed as they do in GT3. In fact, during the many hours that I spent playing the game, I had people come up to me and ask me what racing show I'm watching, or what race I'm watching. In addition to the beautiful car models in the game, GT3 has got some beautiful visual special effects. My favorite's probably the glare effect you get when the sun bounces off the asphalt. Another is kind of like a shimmering heat wave that is best described kind of like what you see when you look down a long stretch of road on a hot summer's day. Another is a slick pavement after a downpour. It accurately reflects the car and the rest of the track around it. And there must be at least a dozen other great effects that I'm just not remembering right now that just make the game look so real. Gran Turismo 3 has 34 different track variations of about a dozen unique tracks, half of which are based on real-life locations, and the other half are purely fictitious. GT3 has about 140 different cars that you can unlock in the game. Now, for fans of the series, that's a whole lot less than what was in GT2. GT2 had over 600 cars, and so that's a significant fraction of what once was. But 140 cars, really, between you and me, is a lot of cars, and more than any one person will ever own in his or her life. And they're all great cars. The one thing that GT3 does that GT2 didn't was phase out all the low-end Civics and Hyundais and cars that really aren't sexy and no one wants to drive. All the cars in GT3 are high-end. Producer of GT3 is a huge fan of F1 cars, and as you can see behind me, they're included in GT3. Now, fans will recognize these not to be the latest F1 cars. In fact, they're taken from the mid-80s to late 80s. They're actually much faster than the F1 cars are today because FIA, the governing body of Formula 1, implemented a lot of rules to make them safer in the late 80s and early 90s. So these cars actually produce upwards of 1,000 horsepower, and if you can get to them, you'll really enjoy driving them. You can upgrade parts like your brakes, your suspension. You can get larger pistons. You can bore out your piston heads. You can upgrade your filter, your exhaust. You can get 4 grades of turbos, intercoolers, you name it. If you can think of it, it's definitely in the game. And they even have some cosmetic upgrades like choosing wheels from manufacturers like Yokohama, Dunlop, Ozy, you name it. You can even change the oil in your car and wash your car to make it shinier. Some of the things that Gran Turismo 3 doesn't have are some of the things that Gran Turismo fans have really been hoping that this game would have, and I think the biggest thing of all is the lack of drag racing. The ability to take your car and pit it against another car in a quarter-mile run and get the slick times. And I think fans have really been crying out for that one. And it's a shame that the game doesn't include. The biggest knock against GT3, however, is definitely the lack of several key manufacturers like Ferrari, like Porsche. Wish it had more BMW cars than just the 328 Ci, which is a famous car anyway. Where's the M3? Where's the M5? Where's the Z8? But really, the lack of Ferrari and Porsche, I think, hurts the game a lot, because those two companies are considered, pillars of racing heritage, and not to have them in a racing game, the caliber of Gran Turismo is a crying shame. The funny thing about GT3 is that even though it's called a real-life driving simulator, it doesn't really simulate what it feels like to drive one of these cars. For example, if you drive an Integra Type R, and if you expect to jump into this game and get the same feeling from the Integra Type R in the game, you're going to be sorely disappointed. What it does do great is simulate the difference between like a Type R and an NSX in the game that a Type R and an NSX in real life have. In short, Gran Turismo 3 is an incredibly fun game with just gorgeous graphics, great sound effects, great soundtrack with bands like Motley Crue, Snoop Dogg, Lenny Kravitz, Grand Theft Audio. It offers replay value for weeks and weeks and months at a time. And I think anyone who's even wondering whether or not they should buy this game should definitely buy it, because they will thoroughly enjoy it, whether or not they like racing in real life or not.